we have a point. I don't know, somewhere here. Maybe somewhere here. Or it can even be below, no problem. If that is our P prime. Since we're talking about inverses, we're just switching points, okay? What was x becomes y, what was y becomes x. So the coordinates of P prime are going to be 2 and 4. Then can we show that A is a 2? So where do we find A? It's in the graph of F. So we're going to use the points on F. So we know that f of x is the same as y. So I'm going to say f of x is equal to the log ax. Remember we said this is the same as y. So if I try to change this into exponential format, it will be the same as a to the y is equal to x. I'm looking for a. My y is a 2 on f. My x is a 4. Then you can get the square roots on either side. Okay, so square root, square root, square root, square root. So which means a is a 2. A becomes a 2. All right, then we move on. Move on. Remember, they were telling us to show that a is a 2. That's what we just did. Then 5.3. 5.3. Can we write the equation of G in the form? Now remember, G is the inverse of F. So usually, if we have exponential, for us to write it as an inverse, we use the logs, which is log x and that. Okay, so it's the same thing. Let's just switch them around. So since we know that f is the log x base 2, which means g of x is going to be the same as 2 to the x. Just that. Remember, y is log 2 to the x. Switch them around, that's going to be x is log 2 to the y. And then you use your exponential form. Okay, then 5.4, t is a point on f in the first quadrant. T is a point of f. Okay, let me just try to use a different color. Okay, t is a point on f such that the lines are parallel. What this means that if I put my t here and I draw a line, this line must be parallel to that. Okay, interesting. Calculate the area of RTP1. So if I connect this and then I connect that so that I have my triangle. Now, someone may argue it's not the right angle triangle, but we can make it one. Okay, how? Because now we're gonna use the coordinates of R, the coordinates of T. How many marks is this question? It's 4 marks. Okay. So first things first, we need to get the value of R, or the coordinates of R. We know that R is on the y-axis. And since we got the equation of G to be 2 to the x, if we replace x with a 0 here, we're going to get a 1. So R is basically 0 and 1. Good. We also need the coordinates of T. But since T, okay, is parallel to the x-axis, which means the y-coordinate of T is going to be a 1. The y-coordinate of T is going to be a 1. And then we can just play around with the values there. So if I use the equation of f to find what x is, so 1 is equal to the log of 2 to the x. What's going to be x there? Chances are high if I change this to exponential, it's going to be 2 to the 1 is equal to x, so which means x is going to be a 2 there. Okay, so I'm having a scenario. Let me just redraw that triangle here. where I'm having 0 and 1. Now I'm ending up with 2 and 1. Okay, but then we said P was 2, was it 2 and 4 or 4 and 2? It was 2 and 4. Okay, so if it is 2 and 4, which means this line is perpendicular to this, it makes it a 90. There's no need to stress. Okay, so if that is true, we need to get the distance, which will be like our height. What is the distance from there to there? So if that is at 2 and 4, so we're looking at 4, and then we're looking at 1. So those are 3 units. Okay, so I'm going to say distance P prime T. So P prime T, that is 3 units. And then the distance RT is going to be just 2 units from there up to there. Okay, and then all we have is just calculate the area. So a half times the base times the height. So a half times 2 times 3. And then that gives me 3 units squared. So that is question number 5.0.